If you ordered something from Amazon last week, your package almost certainly flew on a 30-year-old Boeing 767 painted in Amazon livery. Amazon does not own that plane. Amazon does not operate it. And the same airline that delivered your parcel has flown American troops out of Kabul, evacuated citizens from Wuhan, and carried laser-guided bombs across the Atlantic for the United States military. There are 6 airlines in America doing this. You have probably never heard of any of them. Most people assume Amazon has its own airline. The planes say Prime Air on the side. Amazon has a hub in Cincinnati that handles roughly 200 flights a day. The fleet sits at around 99 aircraft as of early 2025. But Amazon Air is a brand, not an airline. Every plane wearing Amazon's blue tail is operated by a third party. The same is true of the cargo airlines that move the United States military when its own aircraft are not enough. The Pentagon does not own enough planes to move its own troops in a crisis. It pays civilian airlines to do it. These two stories, Amazon's logistics and America's military lift, look completely separate. They are not. The same handful of airlines, the same airframes, sometimes the same crews move both. To understand why, we need to start with a single number: $15 million. $15 million is roughly what it costs to convert a passenger Boeing 767, around 25 years old, into a freighter. A cargo door is cut into the side, the floor is reinforced, the cabin is stripped. 6 months of work. After that, the plane can fly another 20 years, hauling 52 tons of freight, 3,000 nautical miles at a time. The used airframe itself sells for around $15 to $20 million on the open market. For roughly $30 to $40 million total, you have a long-haul cargo aircraft that would cost more than $200 million if you bought it new. That single piece of engineering math built in industry. Atlas Air operates around 112 aircraft, including roughly 58 Boeing 747s, making it one of the largest 747 operators in the world. Kalitta Air runs 22 Boeing 747s and 5 Boeing 777s. ATSG's 2 airlines, ATI and ABX, between them operate more than 114 converted freighters. None of these companies sells a single passenger ticket. None of them have a check-in counter you have ever seen. And together, they control the majority of America's wide-body freighter capacity outside of FedEx and UPS. But here is where it gets financially interesting. Atlas, Kalitta, and ATSG do not exist because of Amazon. They exist because of the Pentagon. In 1948, the Berlin Airlift exposed something embarrassing about American power. The United States did not have enough military aircraft to move enough cargo fast enough without commandeering civilian airliners in a hurry. 3 years later, the Department of Defense created a program to fix that. The Civil Reserve Air Fleet, roughly 450 civilian aircraft from about 25 American airlines, are formally pledged to it today. When the military needs more lift than it can provide itself, the Secretary of Defense activates the fleet, and within 72 hours, those civilian planes start moving troops and cargo. The program has been formally triggered 3 times: the Gulf War in 1990, the Iraq War in 2002, and the Afghanistan evacuation in August 2021. 18 civilian aircraft from 6 airlines moved more than 120,000 evacuees out of staging bases in Qatar, Bahrain, and the UAE. In return for committing aircraft, the airlines get something more valuable than any single charter. They get the right to bid on routine peacetime military contracts. The Pentagon spends roughly $2 billion a year buying passenger and cargo flights from civilian airlines. In one task order release in 2019, Atlas Air won $287 million. Kalitta won $160 million. ATSG's 3 subsidiaries together won close to $200 million more. $500 million of military flying in a single batch. And the strangest part, more than 90% of America's routine military passenger movement is done by civilian airlines, not by the Air Force. These are the same airlines. A converted 25-year-old Boeing 767 is one of the most economically efficient cargo planes ever built. That engineering reality created a class of carrier that owns dozens of them, keeps spare crews on call, and operates under government-trusted certificates. The same class of carrier became the natural partner for two completely different customers: Amazon, which does not want to be an airline; Pentagon, which cannot afford to keep enough planes ready for a war that may never happen. The same fleet absorbs both demands. And the loyalty cuts the way you would not expect. In mid-2025, Atlas Air voluntarily walked away from Amazon, terminating 25 aircraft worth of crew, maintenance, and insurance contracts that were not due to expire until March 2026. Not because Amazon could not pay. Military and international cargo flying on Atlas's Boeing 747-8 pays more per block hour than running aging 767s for Amazon. The bigger customer in the headlines is Amazon. The steadier check is the Pentagon. But the strangest part is still coming. The story of these airlines is not just a story about logistics, it is something stranger. By 1967, a young drag racing world champion named Conrad Kalitta was hauling automotive parts between Detroit and the supplier's yards in a single twin-engine Cessna he flew himself. Today, the airline he built, Kalitta Air, based in Michigan, is privately held and owned outright by him. It operates 27 wide-body aircraft. And listen to what Kalitta's fleet has done in the last few years. In January 2020, as the world was just beginning to understand what was happening in Wuhan, the United States State Department needed to get its nationals out of China. The plane it chartered was a Kalitta Boeing 747. 4 aircraft, tail numbers eventually preserved on a commemorative patch held by the National Museum of American Diplomacy, made what became known as the Wuhan evacuation. Those same airframes in normal weeks carry automotive parts and pharmaceuticals. Now go back 15 years. During the 2006 Lebanon War, Kalitta Air was used by the United States to fly laser-guided bombs to Israel. The flights refueled at Prestwick Airport in Scotland, without proper authorization from the British Civil Aviation Authority. Scotland's Crown Office investigated. They decided against prosecution. But the record is permanent. Same airline, same kind of aircraft. And the sister company, Kalitta Charters, has held the contract since 2007 for transporting fallen American service members from Dover Air Force Base to their final resting places. A proprietary casket lift system. Dignified transfers every week, one company. The same airframe family, bodies of fallen soldiers on one flight, Wuhan evacuees on the next, weapons to a Middle Eastern war on another, Amazon Prime packages in between. This is what is meant by a dual-use airline. And Kalitta is not unique. Atlas, Omni, ATI, ABX, every major American cargo carrier outside FedEx and UPS lives this way. So the real story of Amazon Air is not Amazon. The real story is that the United States government, decades ago, decided not to maintain enough military airlift capacity to handle its own surge demand. Instead, it built a subsidized civilian shadow fleet. Those airlines survived by finding a second customer with the same logistics needs: e-commerce. The same converted Boeing 767 that lets you order something on a Sunday and receive it on a Monday is the same converted Boeing 767 that lets the Pentagon move 10,000 soldiers without having to build 10,000 soldiers worth of military aircraft. The next time you see a plane painted in Amazon livery descending into Cincinnati or Fort Worth, remember that the operating certificate belongs to someone else. That same airframe family has probably been to Kabul, or Wuhan, or Dover. You have just never been told.